All right, my friends, welcome back. This is going to be part 64 of my presentation on the flood in Noah's Ark. And we are going to continue on with our topic of fossil graveyards. And we're going to look at two areas in this video here. If you'll notice on the screen here, we're going to return back again to the Gobi Desert. Gobi Desert in northwestern China. We talked about the Gobi Desert on the last video, but just to refresh your mind, it is known as a cold desert. A cold desert. It gets to be minus 40 below in winter and 122 degrees in the summer. It gets 7.6 inches of rainfall per year, which falls mostly in summer. 3,000 and 5,000 feet above sea level, I guess, depending on the exact area. And it's considered to be a gold mine for dinosaur hunters. Now, if you'll notice this picture right here, this is some fossils that were found of two dinosaurs. And these dinosaurs, let me go to I'm going to skip ahead to the next couple videos so you can see what these dinosaurs are. It is a Protoceratops is going to be on the left-hand side, and a Velociraptor is going to be on the right-hand side. So that's what these two dinosaurs would have looked like. Now let's go back to what they found, and that's them there. And I'm going to show, let's look at another picture here. And if you notice the Protoceratops on the left-hand side, it looks like it's got, which it does, it looks like it has one of the Velociraptor's arms in its mouth. And the Velociraptor is on its back, and I'm going to go back to another picture, and you can see the head's thrown back and the tail is thrown back. And it resembles a lot like the death pose. A lot of dinosaurs are found in the death pose where it looks like they're either gasping for air, and so also that's a popular theory, is that the dinosaur is gasping for air, so it's throwing its head back. You know, it's got buried by liquids or sediments, and so it's trying to gasp for air, and so it throws its head back. Usually in a liquid state, when it's surrounded by liquid, is usually when it can throw its head and tail back. But also there's and I'm just throwing this out, this is kind of just off the hip, but they do believe also that there is a ligament, that they did some studies on this, and there's a ligament in the or I guess you could say some tendons in the back of the neck, or along the back there, which causes it to draw up when it dies, I guess due to it shrinking, I guess during decomposition or whatever, or when it dies, it stiffens up, and it'll cause that head to draw back. They did some research, I believe, on chickens, and that's what appeared to happen. These chickens did the same thing; their heads kind of got thrown back. So just to throw it out, but that's one of the things that they were trying to figure out. How all these dinosaurs with their heads and tails back, and so it could be just a tendon that has kind of shrunk up and tightened up, and has caused that head to be thrown back. And so, but the popular theory is that it's gasping for air, and so just out of reflexes, it goes back like that and ends up dying in that position. And so, but at any rate, the Velociraptor is on its back and it's got its legs up, it looks like. And I swear, guys, if you're just glancing at this photograph here, you're going, wow, it sure does look like they're fighting. Now, it was discovered in 1971 in the Tugrig region of the Gobi Desert. The Velociraptor's hands were grabbing the head shield of the Protoceratops. The Protoceratops appears to hold the Velociraptor's right arm in its jaws. It was buried by a sandy sediment, and by evolutionary timeline, It was dated to be 80 million years old. Now, these are some of the secular explanations on how they died. One, a collapsing sand dune. Two, excuse me, a freak sandstorm. And three, quicksand. That's the three secular explanations on how they possibly died. Now, let's look at some problems with that. One, a collapsing sand dune. Hundreds of fossils, guys, have been found in the area. Did all of them die that way? You need water to get a fossil like this. You need water. A freak sandstorm. Why not seek shelter from the new threat? Now, I'll say this. I believe it was in Velikovsky's, one of Velikovsky's books, where he talked about how they found bones of animals that were in caves where they were killed by a catastrophe, but because of the common bond on the animals wanting to survive, they would hide. Sometimes enemies or predators and the prey would hide together in caves to get away from the threat. The commonality of wanting to survive outweighed anything else. They forgot about who was who. They just wanted to survive. So they all sought out shelter and didn't think about, well, hey, that you're supposed to be my breakfast or you're supposed to be my dinner. They didn't care. Or, hey, he's the one that's been eating our friends for breakfast and for dinner. And so they didn't matter. And so animals, because of the commonality of wanting to survive, will seek out shelter. And they've seen evidence of that. Another thing was quicksand. Why did they keep fighting? How about the others? And so again, hundreds of other fossils were found. Now, why did they keep fighting? If you this is the same thing I said before. If you're drowning in whatever, sand or water or whatever, you're not going to care who's beside of you. If anything, you're going to try to climb on them. And so people a lot of times will do that. That's one of the dangers about saving somebody that's drowning, is sometimes they're wanting to get out of the water so bad they don't realize that they're climbing on the person that's trying to help them. And they can literally cause the other person to drown also. And so they don't realize it. And so a lot of times they tell the person that they're trying to save to relax, don't fight, and then they can pull them out of the water. And so, but now let's look at something here that's very interesting. If you notice the Protoceratops on the left, you got the Velociraptor on the right, you see the back legs. I've got arrows pointing to the back legs on the Protoceratops. It's missing its front legs. Its front legs are gone. What happened? What happened to them? If these animals died in situ right there, in place, frozen, those legs ought to be there. What happened to those legs? Well, it's very well possible, and I think it makes a whole lot more sense, that these animals did not originally weren't there to begin with. I think the historical biblical floodwaters mentioned in the Bible overtook these animals, and they became in these giant whirlpools or animal. You got what's called log mats, and these could be just great big mats of animals all bundled up together. And it very well could be that during settlement, when these animals settled down, due to the waters, distributing the sediments and the other materials down to the bottom, that these animals, this is the positions that they got in. They were probably just tangled together when they died. And so maybe the Protoceratops's mouth was open, and then the Velociraptor's arm got caught up in it, and they just got tangled upon each other. And so it very well may be that, that they were alive and they're just trying to survive and trying to get out of the water. Maybe they were just, holding on to each other, and that's just the position that they died in. And so it appears to be something like that because the legs are missing. And so the water would have caused a more of a quicker decomposition, and due to the decomposition, the legs just fell off. And so, it's that right there seems to be a better explanation, because it does not have front legs. It's gone. The legs are gone. And so very well could be that right there seems to make more sense, I should say. Now, let's go on to another one. Mongolia, still in Asia between China and Russia. If you notice right here, look at the top right-hand portion of that map. You got Asia and you got Mongolia with that red dot. It's about a 2 days drive from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. And this right here is what they found. 187 fossils of Pseudocasaurus. Pseudocasaurus. It's a parrot lizard. If you notice that beak on it, that's where they get that name. At any rate, 187 of them, guys, were found over a several kilometer area. Now, 0.62, about a little over a half a mile per kilometer, and is the measurements on that. But these animals grew to be about 6.5 feet long and weighed more than 66 pounds. So 187 of them, guys, in one area, big massive area. What happened? Well, Jack Horner was questioning that also. We talked about Jack Horner before. He was the supervisor of Mary Schweitzer, who found the soft tissue in the thigh bone of the T-Rex. Now, Jack Horner, the curator of paleontology, Museum of the Rockies at Montana State University, this is what he said. Is it possible that the animals died at once from poisoning, disease, or some kind of natural disaster? And I would say yes, a natural disaster caused the historical biblical flood mentioned in the book of Genesis. That was that natural disaster. That's what killed these animals and overtook them. Okay, guys, we're going to stop right there. When we come back, we're going to continue on with the fossil graveyard topic. And it's just a fascinating thing to look at, because it is evidence to show that the Bible, talking about the historical biblical flood, is correct. It's right. We can see the evidence that it happened. And so some of the graveyards are bigger, larger than others, but still, it's all over the globe. All over the globe, you can see that. On every single continent, you can see that a worldwide catastrophe took place on our planet. And so, but at any rate, you guys, we'll see you next time. Y'all take care. I love you, and hope the Lord blesses you real good. Bye-bye.